You have to respect the mountain, and sometimes people don't do that. We have some very unusual cases here.
This isn't about mystery. There's something much deeper here.
Are you saying you're walking into the wilderness because you want to disappear in a portal?
Yeah, your mind starts wandering, thinking, what else could have happened here? It doesn't make sense.
My name is Christopher Garetano, and I've spent my whole life exploring the darkest mysteries on Earth. Following that passion, I made a film that helped inspire the hit series Stranger Things. Now I'm digging even deeper into our strange world.
We're here at the base of Mount Shasta. This is the place where all of these mythical things allegedly occurred. You see, all the people that went missing, they were not intentionally walking out there to see something. They were just doing their thing. In my case, I'm ready for anything. And I think the only way a person could find any evidence in this case is to become a part of it.
All right, well, be careful. Are you on walkie?
Yeah, it's in my pocket. Definitely get a feeling of vulnerability. Knowing that I'm in a very spot where some people completely vanished off the face of the earth. It's a very real thing. I don't know what that was. I see like an orange glow in the distance. I'm here in front of Mount Shasta in Northern California. It's one of our 200+ national parks. Every year, more than 25,000 people come here to enjoy the park's incredible scenery and its recreation and everything it has to offer. But in that time, many people go missing. They get lost and they're not prepared for the harsh realities of the wilderness. But in some cases, people vanish from this place without explanation, never to be seen again. Of all of our national parks, Mount Shasta seems to have the most mysterious disappearances, with a handful of cases that simply defy logic, leading to all sorts of theories. I've heard so many local legends, everything from mysterious mountain men living in these lands to even something paranormal. Spirits in the woods, or even an ancient civilization that lives deep beneath the ground. Other stories talk about UFOs and aliens. I'm not sure what to think.
I'm on a quest to find the truth behind the mystery. My plan is to visit the mountain to get a closer look at where these people vanished. But first, I'm starting my search in the town of Mount Shasta, about 9 miles southwest of the mountain.
I think it's important that we begin with facts. So today, we should begin this investigation with Sheriff John Lope. I'm exploring a subject that you're well versed in. Obviously, a lot of people come here and enjoy the place, but unfortunately, a lot of people go missing every year.
You have to respect the mountain, and sometimes people don't do that.
So I'm trying to see if I could find what
might be happening out there in some of the more bizarre cases, just things that people can't explain.
We have some very unusual cases here. And sometimes we think we know what happened, and we may not. Like we'll have someone that we know died, we don't know how they died, we have recovered remains where there's really no reasonable explanation how the body got to the location where it was found.
Wow.
So for a variety of reasons, people disappear, and sometimes it's a big mystery, and you don't know what happened.
Really appreciate
You're welcome.
everything you had to say today. There are plenty of explanations why inexperienced hikers get lost in Mount Shasta. But how does an expert outdoorsman vanish without a trace? I'm about to speak to Terry Guthrie, whose friend Jerry Mcgowan disappeared 17 years ago. Terry, let's go back in time. This is 2002, right?
2002, September 21st. He left the house at 4:30 in the morning. Jerry lived with his mother and father, and his mother woke up and heard him, rummaging around, getting ready to leave, and he left the house.
So, did he tell anybody where he was going?
He never told anybody. He never talked to anybody the morning that he left. He disappeared. Roughly 2 weeks later, we had a phone call that the pickup had been found northeast of Mount Shasta. There was nothing wrong with the pickup. The windows were intact. They weren't broke. The pickup was locked. We had 100 to 150 volunteers every day, and we looked for roughly 2 weeks until basically the sheriff's detectives announced that the search was over because we weren't doing anything. We couldn't find anything.
So you found nothing?
Nothing.
They didn't find any clothing, no shoes?
Nothing. He was wearing a pair of leather boots. I know he was wearing some type of a heavy sweatshirt. He had his wallet with him, and none of that was found, not even pieces of it.
He knew his way around the wilderness.
Yeah.
He knew how to camp.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not the type of guy that would have gotten lost in the woods.
No.
Bears and mountain lions can kill or scavenge, but not without remnants left behind. Investigators found absolutely nothing in this case. What do you think happened to him?
I don't know. I wish I could answer it.
I mean, it's like he vanished in a thin air.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, your mind starts wandering, thinking, what else could have happened here? It doesn't make sense.
Turns out, Jerry Mcgowan was actually the third in a cluster of unexplained disappearances that happened in Mount Shasta over a course of 3 years. On May 25th, 1999, distance runner and veteran mountain climber Carl Landers left base camp ahead of his partners to climb to the summit and was never seen again. On August 18th, 2000, Rosemary Kunst went up the mountain for a week-long meditation retreat and vanished in the middle of a hike. Within hours of her disappearance, a massive search was launched, but no trace of Rosemary has ever been found.
And then there are others who return with puzzling tales. There's a story of a little boy who went missing here at Mount Shasta.
Since the boy is a minor, I can't reveal his name. While camping with his family, the boy wandered off. His parents frantically searched for their missing child. Just before sunset, they found the terrified boy huddled in a dense thicket. The boy told his parents that he saw his grandmother deep in the woods. Relieved, he ran over to her. But as he got closer, the figure turned towards him, and an orange light began to shine from her neck. Realizing that this was not his grandmother, the boy ran away. This story really resonates with me. Personally, I had a few odd experiences. When I was a kid, I disappeared for a few hours, and I don't remember much of it. But the story of the little boy reminded me of that.
What's really going on here? Are these all just tall tales, or is it something the human mind can't comprehend?
With so many unanswered questions, I can't help but to think that the mountains are hiding something far beyond what our eyes can see.
So the question becomes, how valid are these myths?
Do you think that the cave itself could be a gateway or a doorway into another place?
I'm in Northern California, investigating the unexplained disappearances happening around Mount Shasta. Are visitors simply unprepared for the challenges of this terrain? Or is there something darker at work? Before I search the mountain for answers, I want to talk to someone who's spent their life on it.
I'm on my way to speak to a man named Grizz Adams. He has over 30 years' experience in search and rescue here at Mount Shasta. Tell me a little bit about some of the things you've seen over the years in regards to missing people.
I've responded to hundreds and hundreds of searches over the years and rescues. You're always pretty much behind the 8 ball because you're always working against time, because time is travel. And the farther a person can theoretically travel, the greater your donut is an area that has a potential search area.
So I've read about a few particular cases that you were involved in, one of which was Rosemary Kuntz.
That probably, of all of them, that's probably one of the most mysterious to me. She went missing while out on a spirit retreat with a local group. They were on the last day of their journey up there at Spirit Lake, and Rosemary went for a short walk out of camp, and the last she was seen. She wasn't going very far or for very long. The understanding was she was just going to go 100 yards away and look around.
Wow.
Yeah. There's no explanation, why she disappeared and where she went.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you found nothing. There was no clothing, no personal items,
Nothing.
no food that she dropped, nothing, and no blood.
Nope.
Part of my quest is to kind of look outside of the box. Is it possible that somebody can literally vanish into thin air? Do you believe that?
Chris, I'm 64 years old. There's a lot of weird stuff in this world. There's a lot of things we can't explain, that's for sure. Most everything I could come up with some kind of a logical explanation, but it happens. I mean, people just disappear.
This case just doesn't add up. More than 100 searchers, helicopters, dogs, and not a single trace of Rosemary anywhere.
Most of the time they're successful, but in a case like Rosemary Kuntz, they weren't. They're meticulously searching for something practical or something logical that may have happened.
But maybe they should be searching for something they can't see or even fathom. My next step is to talk to Jack Tom, the nephew of the man who led the retreat Rosemary disappeared from. I hope Jack can help me understand a little more about the mysticism that drew Rosemary here in the first place.
Jack, I've been traveling around these mountains for a little while now, looking into missing cases, and I know a lot of people go missing in the woods, like Rosemary Kuntz, for instance.
Yeah.
Can you give me some details about your uncle's retreat and what Rosemary was doing there?
Whenever people went out with my Uncle Charlie, they're going for the spiritual experience. You're up in the wilderness. You look for a vision where you're going to go and or what you want to do in life.
Right.
When you come back down, you're enlightened.
I've also researched a number of alternative theories about the missing and what's supposedly abducting them.
Everything from UFOs to an ancient civilization living underneath the mountain.
With portals to another dimension.
I believe that there is portholes where I've seen them, so. I've seen a lot of things in my lifetime. And I've seen these different beings, and so I know they come from somewhere else.
Mount Shasta isn't actually a mountain. It's a volcano. And I've read that there are all sorts of strange caves and lava tunnels inside of it. Could these be gateways to another dimension? And if portals to an underground world exist, does that explain why people vanish without a trace? My investigation into the unsolved disappearances around Mount Shasta, including that of Rosemary Kunst, has led me to Jack Tom, whose uncle used to hold spiritual retreats on the mountain.
I believe that there is portholes where I've seen them, so.
When did you have an experience with this?
It was in the 90s that we were camped up there above the tree line. And I was told a long time ago that not to go above the tree line.
Why did they tell you that?
Because that's sacred ground up there.
Okay.
And so that day, I was playing my guitar, and I fell asleep. And all of a sudden, I heard a ting on my strings. It woke me up. So when I got up, I seen these two big, tall beings up on the mountain.
What did they look like?
They both had big spears. They looked like Roman soldiers. They were standing there like this, looking at me, and they were like saying, "Come on." You know, it's like, you can come home now kind of thing. It felt like that's where I needed to be. And even my spirit felt that, but there was some part of me that was saying, I'm not done here yet on this earth.
So do you think, these portals lead to somewhere similar to where we might go after death?
I don't know. That's not for me to say.
It sounds far-fetched, but what if, maybe, Rosemary and all the other people missing at Mount Shasta have simply fallen through a portal to another dimension?
I'm completely spooked out by the idea that you could be walking and then vanish into thin air or be taken by something.
If the most seasoned experts can't explain the strange disappearances, then how is anyone safe? I'm not really sure what to believe yet. Maybe the answers aren't up the mountain, but beneath it. Is it possible, like Jack said, that there's some other portal to another dimension hidden inside Mount Shasta? I'm here at Pluto's cave, an entrance to the tunnels that run deep within the mountain.
Next. Thanks so much for meeting me here.
It's great to meet you, Chris.
Likewise.
So before we go to the mountain, I want to know about Pluto's cave.
So Pluto's cave is part of an elaborate system of partially collapsed lava tunnels, which actually surround Mount Shasta. Because Mount Shasta is actually a potentially active volcano.
So, I'm looking into a lot of cases of people who disappeared mysteriously around these mountains, and are hearing these stories of all these missing people, and then you have experts say to look outside of the realm of normal possibilities. Well, now I'm doing it. And I'm asking you if you think at all the cave itself could be, a gateway or a doorway into another place.
I think it's important that we keep an open mind to that. So the question becomes, how valid are these myths about these ancient civilizations, such as the Lemurians?
The legend of Lemuria tells of an ancient civilization that flourished on a lost continent that sank beneath the waves thousands of years ago. After their home was destroyed, the Lemurians fled to Mount Shasta and constructed a massive city underneath the mountain. Some believe that the Lemurians are responsible for the missing people.
It's believed by many that a semi-mythical, highly spiritually advanced race of beings known as the Lemurians actually live inside Mount Shasta.
Wow. Describing advanced cultures living within the earth, I mean, that's the general rule, it seems, to all these legends. And in this area.
Right. Science, just because they can't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Now, mystery we know creates attraction, but this isn't about mystery. There's something much deeper here.
I agree. So I'm willing to check this place out. I mean, it's worth a shot with an EMF reader.
Absolutely.
EMF readers detect a broad range of electromagnetic frequencies in the natural environment. It's not considered paranormal until you get a reading over 10. It's bouncing between 4 and 6.
I wonder if I go a little further into the cave, if it might spike up a little bit. When it comes to all of these missing people, there's really no explanation. So I wonder what might be out there. What might be beneath us? And what might exist amongst us? There's so much more to this world than what most of us see every day. Well, I just finished walking through Pluto's cave with an EMF reader, but whatever's going on here, this energy that people have talked about for years, can't be read with the EMF meter. I think it's something more of the mystical.
It's hard to wrap your mind around the possibility of an invisible society living inside a mountain. But there are many people who swear they've made contact.
I'm on my way to speak to a woman named Ashlyn. She's a local resident, and she claims to have personal experience with the civilization that's said to live beneath the mountain. Ashlyn, thank you so much for having me here.
You're welcome.
Can you tell me a little bit about yourself and what you do?
I've lived in Mount Shasta for over 30 years. And I have been a psychic healer, reader, teacher, and channel since the mid-1970s.
In relation to these missing cases, I've heard there might be some kind of interdimensional portal on the mountain, or portals that people are mistakenly walking through. Because there's an ancient civilization underneath the mountain with a race called Lemurians. How true is this?
Very. A lot of this has been experienced by me through my intuitive skills. So, as the ancient continent of Lemuria used to exist in the North Pacific Ocean, and it was one of the first places where people inhabited the earth. They were very sensitive to energy, and they ended up living their lives in a peaceful, loving, joyful, cooperative way until the earth got more populated and people got more aggressive, so they went underground. One of the groups of people ended up under Mount Shasta inside the volcanic caverns there, and they called that place the city of Telos. I usually see The city, it's all just one story buildings. Some of them are made of crystals. Some of them just look like light.
Wow. These missing cases. Do you believe that some of these people who have vanished entered that world?
It's possible.
It's a lot to try and absorb, you know, because it's not within our normal comprehension.
Everyone is born with the ability to use their intuitive skills of hearing, seeing, feeling, spirit, but they're not trained how to use them. And I've gotten very good at how to channel spirit beings.
In your meditations, have you conversed with any of the Lemurians?
The one I've chosen to speak to today his name is Saint Germain. He calls himself the spokesperson between Telos and the surface dwellers, which is us.
What do I have to do?
Sit, relax.
Okay.
And I'm gonna just take a minute and connect in. Hello, friend.
In my quest to find out why dozens of people vanish each year around Mount Shasta, I'm talking to Ashlyn, a local psychic. Ashlyn is channeling an immortal being from inside the mountain. I hope that this being, Saint Germain, may know where the missing people are.
I am one who looks at people's integrity level quite often, and you know that there is more to life than what most people are aware of. You do not trust what you see.
Sometimes I do.
You have a specific question for him right now?
I'm gonna go into the same woods that people disappeared in. What would you advise me to do?
I want you to breathe
deeply
and look all around you, 360 degrees, so that you too are vibrating at the higher frequency that nature is. If you begin trusting more of what you see, you shall be led to many interesting places.
Sometimes I feel a pull in a particular direction, and over the last few years, I've definitely been trusting that intuition.
He's going, good, good. I'm glad you understand what I'm saying. Now follow that pull more. Follow your intuition. That is all I have to say at this time.
Thank you. Let's say I was to go into this wilderness by myself to try and see if I would experience anything. Would you recommend that or advise against it?
Are you saying you're walking into the wilderness because you want to disappear in a portal?
I don't want to disappear, but a lot of these people don't come back.
Well, I think that your own personal fate has something to do with it.
Most people, I think, immediately would identify what Ashlyn was talking about as fantasy. But I think to try and understand the concept of another alternate universe beneath us, you need to open your mind to a completely different way of thinking, more of an interdimensional existence. No one can explain it because they're still thinking within the realm of normal human comprehension, the things that we know could have happened. I certainly consider what she was telling me as a possibility. But the fact is, these are real people, and they're gone, and they're not coming back.
For me, to go to the mountain is important. It's part of my own personal journey going back to my childhood, and it'll help me understand their mindset when they went missing. In my research, I've heard about a man named Rob Potter, who says he can talk to aliens that have visited Mount Shasta.
Rob, thanks for talking to me today. I really appreciate it. I've been all around Mount Shasta reading about missing cases, learning from people who have experience with search and rescue. They don't look to alternate possibilities, but I think maybe even in the back of their minds, if they're not letting me know, they feel that perhaps something weird happened. And I think that's what happened here too.
What I'm going to be talking about and sharing with you, this level of stuff is not for everyone, but the Earth has had a lot of interaction with extraterrestrials in the past. And there have been a lot of, let's call them nomadic or wayfaring space individuals that have come here and chosen to live underneath the Earth. They moved underneath the Earth here in Mount Shasta, and the US government is aware of these things at the highest level. There are interdimensional portals. This is where some of the extraterrestrials actually live. Now, if you were to see them, they look just like us, but their consciousness is highly elevated. And we, as a planet, are moving towards that.
Ultimately, what we're saying here is there are portals and an ancient race of more powerful than human individuals.
They're not into power, they're more advanced spiritually.
At first listen, most people will just say, no, this is not true, this is crazy. But the further you dive in, it almost starts to make sense. And so your paradigm is shattered, and then now you're like, well, what is reality? And I find myself asking myself that question a lot.
So take, for instance, the story of the little boy who went missing and came back with tales entering another reality of aliens.
It's funny because it reminds me of something I told when I was a kid. I disappeared for a few hours when I was a kid, and everybody was freaking out in my neighborhood. And I came back and I told my parents and everyone else in the neighborhood that a space woman came out of a ship and took me. You know, my mother tells this story to people
Wow.
to this day. So I don't really have much of a memory of that, but that's what I told everybody. I was 5 years old.
Your experience is pretty common, and I think that's probably a planned contact. A lot of people have this experience around this mountain.
I heard that story of a boy coming back and telling a very similar, elaborate tale. Now it seems that maybe he was telling the truth.
It's very possible this boy had an experience with a benevolent inner Earth person. Those who have had experiences here, people get very upset if something doesn't fit into their reality, so most people keep their mouths shut. And I'm not one of those people.
Do you communicate with the beings here at the mountain? Do you communicate with the beings here at the mountain?
I have had physical contacts with probably 15 or 20 of them, but they're very brief. They don't involve spaceship rides. You can ask a question and it comes back. It comes back in your own voice.
Can you show me how you get in touch with these benevolent beings?
I let them decide when they want to contact me. I can show you this. The crystals amplify thought forms, and so utilizing the science of sound, light, and color, it generates a consciousness field.
Can you give me a demonstration?
I'd be happy to.
Rob's stories may sound far-fetched, but I have no better theories.
So we want the green and the blue active. Get this, the tripler up here, and even that star one. There you go. Oh, this is going to be awesome. Okay, we actually activate the crystals so that the chakras and the endocrine glands are raising their vibration.
So this is going to affect me, you, and everybody else in the room? Or?
Everyone is going to be affected visually. Just enjoy, and here we go. go.
You know, while you were playing your music, I really just thought of the missing people getting lost on that mountain. That's how I've felt this whole time.
It's a strange thing that's happening.
Unfortunately, the aliens didn't visit us today, but I am intrigued by what Rob had to say. So after hearing a variety of theories, as well as recounting memories from my own childhood abduction story, I'm more curious than ever to see if I can re-encounter another life form on Mount Shasta.
We're here at the base of Mount Shasta. This is the place where all of these mythical things allegedly occurred. And even the most seasoned experts can't find a clue in some of these missing cases, the more bizarre ones. They think the only way a person could find any evidence in this case is to become a part of it.
I'm going to head out for a few miles into the woods to walk the same terrain as the missing and see if I encounter anything.
All right, are you on walkie?
Yeah, it's in my pocket.
Good luck out there. Be careful.
Thank you. I think you can easily get lost in the woods, and you can easily get swallowed up by the forest, one way or another. I haven't read of many stories of a large group of people disappearing at once in these woods. It seems to be a lot of people are by themselves. So there's this curious side that wants to see and experience things. Haley?
What's up, Chris?
I'm leaving the crew behind at this point, so I'll let you know what I find.
Be careful out there.
All right. I'm gonna just keep going. I think it's important to really get inside the head of Carl and Rosemary when they went out here and wandered off by themselves before they disappeared. Yeah, I definitely get a feeling of vulnerability. You know, knowing that I'm in a very spot where some people completely vanished off the face of the earth. You know, it's a very real thing.
Can you hear me, Chris?
Yes, I can. What's up?
I just heard something over here.
What did you hear?
Sounded like a thump.
I don't know what that was. I see like an orange glow in the distance. Haley? Pretty spooky.
You broke out for a second. Could you say that again? Can you hear me, Chris?
Chris. Hey, Chris, do you copy?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Chris? Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Chris. Hey, Chris, do you copy?
Haley? Hello? Haley?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
I thought I saw something in the woods, but it disappeared. I think we should get out of here.
All right, see you soon.
My night spent walking through Mount Shasta was profound. I felt something. I felt a presence in the woods.
The orange light seems consistent with stories I've heard before about alien encounters, and it was eerily similar to my own experience of getting lost as a child. I felt like I was close, perhaps too close, to truly identifying with the missing people of Mount Shasta.
At the beginning of this investigation, I was determined to find out why so many people have vanished from our national forests. Mount Shasta in Northern California is shrouded with mystery and haunted by unexplained disappearances. So when logic failed to explain the disappearances, I had to search my mind for alternatives. Something otherworldly. What I found was shocking. The possibility of people walking through portals and being abducted by aliens actually sounds less crazy and starts to become real. Unfortunately, my journey didn't answer the question about why people have gone missing, but I learned to keep my mind open, beyond what the eyes can see. You have to think outside the box and venture into the strange world that lives within the shadows of our own.